How do we get to that point to become authentic, to become congruent, to become in charge of your life, really? Everything starts with awareness.
If I'm making a decision that is inauthentic and I'm saying yes to a no, that's just as painful to the other person. And if I'm aware of it, then I'm the inflictor of it. I'm the source of the pain. It feels lonely, the seeking approval. Any of that is what, for me, points to when we're living if we're inauthentic, those are the feelings that come up.
We don't know who we are. There's the great quotes, know thyself. Like, that's an amazing quote. What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I know myself, right? If we have constraints written all over our bodies and in our mind and in our hearts, and we are resisting our way in life through everything, then, of course, we cannot be authentic.
Authenticity to me, it's the sturdy foundation that we stand on when we align with it. When we do these practices, it's like that's what hardens that foundation that's steady for then the structure of what comes to be on it. There's no limits from there. But the first thing we are to do is to be aware. You know what to do and you know how to move through this. Everyone does. We all do. We forgot. And we're here to remember.
If I'm able to be on that little bit of higher frequency, I will remember because it will come to me. The frequencies are lower, bring them up higher. You have a low frequency, you feel low, be present, because authenticity is in presence. So being fully with what is, and I will capitalize the is, being fully with what is right now. Beautiful souls, curious minds, welcome back to another Awaken to Work podcast session. Today, here with me again is Tammy. Thank you so much for joining again. And I want to talk about authenticity and how it affects our life and how does it feel to really, truly be authentic, and what does it feel like when we are not authentic? So let's start with the latter. And I think it's fairly common for most people to feel incongruent in life, feel out of place in life, feel stuck. And the authenticity really isn't present at all. And so, how do we get to that point to become authentic, to become congruent, to become in charge of your life, really, for lack of a better word here? Start to me, against everything starts with awareness. So, when there is awareness that perhaps in some part of my life I'm being inauthentic with myself, with other people, that there's perhaps are times that I don't say full truth to somebody, and I know that it isn't. And perhaps there are times that I feel like I can't necessarily trust what my mind comes up with. So when we talk about authenticity, to me, it's not there unless we're aware that as a human being, we have capacity to learn, and we do from very childhood. Before we are a human being, we are somewhere else in space, somewhere in a realm of God, in realm of source, however you want to name that. Again, the soul chooses to go through certain lessons, be it karmic from previous times around in lives, or just curiosities. And so soul wants to experience, and as we incarnate into a body, instantly we have people around us telling us what to do or what not to do. And so if somebody always tells us what to do, what not to do, and our survival depends on it, our mind is going to set these as defaults, and we become a certain persona, certain personality. Through these behaviors, through these suggestions of our caretakers. Thus, we cannot truly be authentic, because if we were authentically expressing ourselves, we would be doing it on a level of the soul. The soul doesn't have, oh, I shouldn't go there, or I shouldn't do this. I better, blah, 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 whatever, right? So if I don't have the shoulds, the coulds, I'm going to be a lot more authentic in the present moment than otherwise. Anytime I catch myself saying I should go do this or should do that, literally, I have a program probably now says that, okay, anytime I say the word should or could or would, it's like I have to stop and pause and like, where is it coming from? Like, what is the program that's running that, you know? Those are the stops to us being authentic.
Hmm.
So, first part of this, I would say, I would ask you to also tell me, like, where do you see for yourself where you have in your life been inauthentic and or didn't know that you could be more authentic also?
Probably, I mean, the biggest one is the self-abandonment, self-betrayal.
Mm, oof.
So the abandonment and betrayal
Hmm.
of self is of the soul, what the soul is saying, that the desire that wants. If there's self-abandonment, say in a relationship, it's not meeting the heart's desires, and there's enough that's saying this, it doesn't feel like it should feel. So whatever those reasons are, it's not meeting the heart's desires, and there's enough that's saying this, it doesn't feel like it should feel. So whatever those reasons are, outside of the obvious, like, abuse and things like that, just it doesn't feel like a full yes, as we say,
Hmm.
but we stay
Hmm.
because it could be the mind. um for me, it could be like, well, you're not worthy of better, and then that can come with its whole list of why the choice is made to stay in a place that's not a full yes. Meaning there's something wrong with the other person. When something's not aligned, when we're talking about relationships, that doesn't mean that one person's bad or not good enough for us. If somebody isn't a full yes for us, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong that makes them a no. Being a no doesn't mean there's any wrong, fault, flaw, nothing. It's just not aligned. And so if we could, like for me, if we could realize that authenticity and being authentic equals freedom. Because when we're authentic, we're never going to say yes to a no. Never. You can't. It's like it won't happen. It can't happen in authentic. You
Hmm.
you can't be in full authenticity.
Yeah.
However, the way to being authentic is to know your own soul, and that only happens by having the experience of self-abandonment and self-betrayal. So it's all part of the journey that's here for us. And so the goal is not to not ever have relationships that fall apart or things happen, because if they didn't, we wouldn't learn this.
Hmm.
But I think, like for me, that's probably been the biggest one, and because that's the easiest to be aware of, in my opinion, because you're having the experience of it. If you're saying yes to a no and it's a relationship, you're having the experience every day of the misalignment. And so you're like awareness, you can't really deny it
Hmm.
internally. You can
Hmm.
outwardly, of course, but you can't really get away from it.
Yeah,
um
exactly. If you're being honest with yourself, you're going to feel it.
yeah.
No matter whether you disclose it to someone else or not, doesn't matter. It's the pain really happens, or suffering really happens when we know we're lying to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's the worst pain. It's one of the first things I share with clients that are going through a transition and a breakup, or coming into this themselves. I'll say that after, and in hindsight, I look back, and when it's done, and healing has happened, and it's been time after, you know a breakup or a job ending, whatever the relationship was,
Hmm.
the pain that still felt after is for my own self-abandonment, because
Hmm.
it's not about the other person.
No. Hmm.
It isn't about them. It's, for me, the pain of my choices, that, because I'm not a victim, and that I made a choice that wasn't aligned. And so the pain that I felt, the pain that the other person felt,
Hmm.
because they feel it too. If I'm making a decision that is inauthentic, and I'm saying yes to a no, that's just as painful to the other person. And if I'm aware of it, then I'm the inflictor of it. I'm the source. I'm the source of the pain. And it closes that gap that there is between us and our soul. So if we're feeling that misalignment, we're feeling that it feels lonely, the seeking approval, any of that is what for me points to when we're living if we're inauthentic, those are the feelings that come up. The sooner that we sit with them, it'll show us wherever it is, wherever it kind of fell off.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to authenticity around connection with the soul. To me, what it looks like is that, the soul has the avatar as
Mhm.
a point of entrainment in some sense. Like our physical body, our physical being, I take it from my perspective as a reflection of the soul. The
Mhm.
soul is me still. But it's like this is a different manifestation. It's a persona, right? And then
Mhm.
to me, that's like we're learning to train the connection between the soul and the avatar being the physical body, the experiencer. So the
Mhm.
soul being the observer, and then the experiencer being the human being of that the experience of the life. The soul picks the avatar, which is the body. It's gonna be
Mhm.
born there and there, and now the soul has the avatar basically to train it in
Mhm.
connection with the soul. It's like the avatar and the soul are the same thing, right? But not because the
Mhm.
body, the being has its own will, right? Kind of like when human trains a dog, in a sense.
Yeah.
That you have the dog to train them, and the dog will basically be first like it doesn't even know like where my body parts are. It's like bumping into things and puppy, right? And
Mhm.
it's like
Yep.
falling over, and it's like learning to then listen commands, and it's like eventually the dog can like do tricks and do all sorts of things, but the human has to take the time to train it. And so similarly to me, like what the soul is doing with the avatar is to train the body itself, the emotions, to the thoughts to flow kind of in nature with the knowledge that the soul already has.
Mhm.
And that's like that connection between those two, like the string almost, literally. As good of a connection as there is, as good of an avatar you will have.
That makes a lot of
So
sense.
yeah, so like if there's a good strong connection between the two,
Mhm.
then the avatar is going to be okay. No matter what
Yeah.
happens, it's just going to be okay.
Mhm.
But sometimes that connection gets clogged up, twisted, just not connected well. It's like there's static behind and you can't hear the messages back and forth. It's kind of like that to me. And so, like, the more clear the channel is, more authentic you are, clearer the life experience are, and richer the experiences are. The connection that I'm speaking to isn't the typical, I had fun doing this, I had a terrible time doing that. That's not what I'm talking
Mhm.
about. It's more about that inner soul knowing. That's just like things are aligned. If you ever had a point in your life when just things were just happening, they are aligned perfectly, and
Mhm.
you're like, wow, that was amazing. Even if I planned it, I couldn't have planned it better, right? So if you had such experience, this is where the soul has connected with the avatar, and avatar connect with the soul. And so the connection is
Mhm.
back and forth. This is, to my knowledge, why most people want to actually meditate, is because they're improving this connection. The soulfulness of human being is the our ability to perceive any reality from a space of heart. So when we
Mhm.
are in the space of heart, when we perceive reality from that perspective, we are not protecting ourselves. We are not trying not to do something. We are not avoiding something, calculating something, resisting something. We don't do any of that. When we are in love, we are connected with the soul that we are.
Mhm.
That connection that we feel is so um godlike, I would say, in a sense,
Mhm.
like, love,
Yeah,
full
I would
full
say
of
that
love.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. in
Mhm.
that in that connection, we can actually be authentic, and not only can we are.
Yeah.
And that is not something that is experienced by most people. It's typically not the case, but there are more and more people these days that are experiencing it, and it's amazing. And I want to
Mhm.
continue with that.
Yeah, and it's like if we turn it and we think about the other people in relationships, like if we choose to be inauthentic and we say yes to a no because, well, I want to do that, well, I'm going to just give in and do something I don't really want to do because this is what they like to do and I don't want to be a disruption, so I'm going to go along for them. We're not doing anybody a favor by that. That's not loving, that's not kind. We're not being genuine. We're not authentic when we do that. And the other person deserve our authenticity. They deserve all of us. But until we meet all of us, we can't give it to anybody
Yeah.
because we don't have any to give. Like authenticity is it's sturdiness, it's groundedness, it's security, but it's also freedom. So it's grounded and free, flowing at the same time. It's still and in motion at the same time.
Mhm.
It's all things all at the same time. There's no break, there's no difference, there's no levels. It's it just goes and there's a trust. But the trust comes from the groundedness of on a soul level, because when we're there, we're able to say, well, yeah, look, I really like spending time with you. I like our time together. We have great conversations and all of these things are great. But say like maybe somebody rides motorcycles and that's one of the loves of their life, and they're every chance they get they're on a motorcycle, and they start dating somebody and she's afraid of she doesn't has no desire.
Mhm.
Can it work?
Mhm.
Yeah, it can work. But if the person who's afraid of motorcycles gets on, you're putting yourself and you're putting them in danger because now you're
Mhm.
getting on that machine with fear, anxiety, all of those low vibrational things. You're putting both of you in danger.
Mm.
Nobody's got a favor going on because you're doing it. Well, good, well, they like it. Yeah, but you're petrified. No, that doesn't make for a good ride. It's a potential for, in that case, a lot like a life-threatening situation. And so we can't give what we aren't. Like we can't give what we don't have. And I know we say it all the time and it's such a,
Right.
but like it applies to everything. There's nothing it doesn't touch. I have to be willing to travel the path first before I ask anybody else to go on it and keep me safe.
Mm.
It's not fair for me to say, "Okay, I'm living a life. I'm a full functioning adult being, and I'm responsible for walking these paths in my life." If I say, "Well, yeah, I know it's my path to walk, but I think somebody else should come in and protect me and stay with me and move the rocks out of the way and clear it for me." No, it's okay to ask for help because sometimes there's big rocks and big trees and you need some help, but we're not asking somebody to walk our path with us. If we don't feel safe enough to be authentic because we haven't made that connection with our own soul, by default, we're going to expect, ask, and have agendas for other people to do it because we don't know that we can.
Mhm.
We don't know we can until we do. And maybe people have experiences of, adults and well-meaning people in their lives telling them that they can't, that they're unworthy, that they're incapable. And so, but still, that doesn't make it then that your path is just to come to the realization that you do. That's just your karma. That's just your work to learn that you can, in fact, walk it. You're not a victim, though, because somebody said you can't. We're never a victim.
Yeah, from my own life, like when I remember for a long time I was like I really want to be authentic. I heard the word at some point. I was like, oh, I really want to be authentic. That sounds
Mm,
right. That sounds right to me, right? At the time not realizing that there is just probably close to 1,000, if not more, all sorts of little things that were holding me back from being authentic, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh,
Mm,
authenticity, that sounds great. Freedom, peace. Ooh, that sounds great. Yeah, you can't have those things unless you're out of prisons that you may have created for yourself by complying with the notions of what your caregivers have told you you should do or should be for them and or for yourself or for other people or whatever else, right? So we don't know who we are. There's the great quotes, know thyself. Like that's
Mhm.
amazing quote. What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
How
Hmm.
do I know myself, right? Yeah, and it's a lot of times that this really lies in understanding what we do that we don't notice that we do. This is why I was saying at the beginning that this awareness is like the first level of being able to be in such state, whether it's, obviously being authentic,
Yeah.
or whether it's being, in peace, whether it means to be, free or whatever else, right? And
Hmm. Yeah.
they're all synonymous in some sense. They all mean the same thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
But again, if we have constraints written all over our bodies and in our mind and in our hearts,
Hmm.
and we are resisting our way in life to through everything, then of course, we cannot be authentic. And so,
Right.
as nice of a buzzword as it can be, uh, it's
Right.
I don't want to say it's hard to attain. It isn't. It actually is the opposite. But
Yeah.
people feel it's hard to attain that because there is so much crap in between. And the connection, like I was saying earlier, the connection between the soul and the avatar, the human being itself, the persona, the body, with the mind and soul, with the mind and emotions, is not clear, and that's thus incapable of seeing what's possible. And if you don't know really what's possible because you have, or I would have, or we would have all these
Hmm.
filters created
Hmm.
that would filtered out our life through other people's ideas, then we cannot
Hmm.
do that. And so what oftentimes happens to what I feel is that the reason that we can't be authentic is because we're repressing, suppressing, and repressing certain behaviors, again, because mom said, you know, don't do this, don't go there, don't be a nuisance, don't, anything that we
Hmm.
decided that we had to comply with because we would lose the love of the mom. If
Hmm.
that happened, I'd be alone, I'd probably die. So it's life-threatening for a little child, right? And so in that sense, we would suppress our own needs and wants just to please someone else.
Hmm.
And this is where it all starts. And we've talked about this before, but I just want to say that this really lies really in the way of the best life and being authentic,
Hmm.
authentically be able to express yourself with, you have your son, your daughter, you have your mom, your dad, and being with them in the present moment and authentically express yourself, truly listen to them. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what you get out of the situation when you're at your work. Do your best because you're in the present moment, and that's what you do. You do your best,
Hmm.
not because you're waiting for some sort of reward after that. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to get a reward after that, of course, but you're not doing it because of that, and that's what it means to be authentic.
Yeah.
It's in my world.
I believe that we're born, created, and we come into this world on a platform of freedom. And as life takes place, it gets cluttered with things.
Mm,
And so it can either turn into clutter or awareness of first knowing that I'm automatically free. I was born free.
mm,
Now I'm presented with these things that come in onto this platform that I am.
mm,
And it's when we're aware of it, that's the responsibility to come into awareness. All right, we see it. All right, accept it. It's there. I'm not going to deny it. So we're aware. All right, now we accept it. And then we move forward into action, whatever that action is of thought, of mind, of body, whatever needs to be done. But we don't just sit, it's like just being on any normal pathway, or you're on a platform and there's something on the floor that you don't want to be there, or you're on a pathway and there's a tree falls in front of it.
mm,
The victim would sit and say, "Oh my God, but there's a tree across the path. I can't walk now. There's a rock." And we would sit and we would contemplate. And then we would feel bad about it. And we would just do nothing but talk about this rock that's in the middle of our path. Okay. Or awareness, there's a rock. Okay, I accept that there's a rock there. But I also remember that I'm a capable human being and I have all these faculties. So to know our soul and to be in that connection with the love of our soul, the only desire ever is to maintain that connection.
Mhm.
We maintain that connection by being more like God, source, the creator, which what does that mean? That means being love. What is, authenticity? How do we be authentic? Well, authentic is to be truly ourselves. Okay, well, what is that? Well, that is love. Well, how do we know that? Because that's what we're created as. So the steps to declutter are always to advance towards the creator. We do that by our thoughts. Thoughts of judgment take you further away from it. Thoughts of anger and all of that, that takes you further away from it. Thoughts of compassion, of love, of, you know, transformation, transforming something into love, seeing the blessing, seeing the good, that's moving you closer. And so that's all it is. There's no big things to be done. It's just once that awareness comes, okay, well, just remember, and all we got to do is be like what we are as we were created to be, not
Yeah.
go find something to be so that this is good enough to say, here, look, this is who I authentically am.
Mhm.
Look at all I've done in my life and how good I am. I have these things and I have degrees and I have success. And here I went out in my life and I collected all these things and did all these things. Now I can come and now I can be authentic because I'm worthy. No, you're authentic before you do any of it. Like you're worthy of that.
Yeah.
And so it's it's just sort of backtracking, knowing that we can be who we truly are before we do anything to be a better us.
Yeah.
If that made sense. Yeah.
I want to touch on what you were saying earlier about knowing when to say no
Mm,
and when no means no, basically. And, versus like going into people pleasing in my own life as well is what I've
mhm,
noticed that is most insidious in sense, right? It
mhm.
was difficult
Yep.
to get through to like become aware of that. Of course, then of course that goes into self-worth and like you were saying, self-abandonment, etc. But what happens, I feel that is that sometimes we get into whatever the life situation is, whether it's
Mhm,
a relationship with the father, mother, family, something, partner, whatever it is, in some relationship, someone says something and something touches you and you
mhm,
don't feel good about it. And then all of a sudden you're, okay, they annoyed me. Well, they said words and you made a meaning out of them. And then what you got annoyed. Sure.
mhm,
Again, being with it is number one way to let yourself be authentic with your emotion that you're having, with the thoughts that came, and not
mhm,
resist them. This is really where I feel it's super important to understand that whatever we resist persists. I know we've said that a million times, but point being is that anytime you find yourself frustrated, angry, what is frustration? It's a repression of something that you want to express and feeling like you are not allowed to. And who tells you that you're not allowed to? I mean, maybe it's society, or maybe it was
mhm,
some sort of parenting advice early in a childhood that is still stuck in your mind. But for most, really, it's you. And I
mhm,
know that may be harsh in a sense, but it is really what the truth is. It's like we are creating our own meaning. We are creating our own life. And
mhm,
yes, there are circumstances that are, you could say things that you like better than others. Yeah, but again, can you be
mhm,
with it? And the point being is that can I be with joy? Yeah. Can I be with sorrow? Yeah. Can I be with anger? Most people
mhm,
start resisting right there. Can I be with frustration? Again, most people resist right there. And that resistance itself is what is taking away the authenticity, is what takes away our freedom, is what takes away our peace, right? That is
Mhm.
our choice to be frustrated. If frustration isn't bad, it just is what it is. And then, if you
Mhm.
don't, if you stay frustrated, you become angry. And if you become angry, if you
Mhm.
stay angry, you become furious, right? So
Yeah.
it just goes and grows, right? So whatever you're paying attention to is what's going to grow. So in that sense, again, if there is somebody asks me, hey, do you want to go to see this movie? And I'll say, let's say it's my partner ask me, this was actually from my life as well. It's like, do you want to go see this movie? And I say yes, even though I meant no, because I felt like I should please her, so then I will have peace,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
I'm sure nobody's ever done that before in their relationship. Um,
Mhm. Yeah.
and then now we get into this. Well, now I have one up on you because I have pleased you because I didn't really want to go,
Mhm. Yeah.
but now you need to return that favor to me.
Yeah.
And so the power struggle starts really.
Right.
So there are these situations that we go through in life.
Mhm.
And this is where we don't notice oftentimes is where we start giving up our power. And then because of that power giving up, we continuously train ourselves to become less and less authentic. And for me to come out of that rut, really,
Mhm.
would be first thing would be to start being able to say, no, that doesn't align with what I want right now.
Yeah.
That's all
Mhm.
it is. And in 5 minutes, it may. I don't know.
Yeah.
But right
Right.
now, I'm not feeling it, and that's not what I'm going to do. And so, this is what, people sometimes talk about boundaries. Like, what does it mean to establish healthy boundaries, especially in the
Mhm.
therapeutic world? And it really means to just say, you know what, for right now, this is what I want to do, and that's that. I don't need to
Mhm.
give a reason. I don't need to say, um, I will let you know in 5, 10 minutes or something. No, I'm just right now I don't. There was a phrase in the TV show Friends where
Mhm.
Phoebe is asked if she could do something, and then she says, "I would love to, but I just don't want to." You know.
Helping Ross move.
That's right. That's right. I would love
Helping
to,
him, or
but I
no,
just don't
helping
want
him
to.
put the furniture together. Yep.
That's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just she just
Oh,
doesn't
but
want
I
to, and
just don't
that's
want
it.
to.
Yeah, but the reason behind the problem behind it oftentimes is that it is not socially acceptable.
Right. Mhm.
We are making a big deal out of you shouldn't get what you just want. There
Mhm.
should be a reason behind it,
Yeah.
right? And because of this, we actually become inauthentic. It's like, let me
Yeah. Mhm.
shoot myself in the
Yeah.
foot.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. A lot came. I was actually taking notes. A lot was coming to me as you were talking.
Okay.
And then it just kept flow. So I'm like, I better write it down. So in the terms of awareness and seeing
Yeah.
things come up and seeing the patterns come up,
Yeah.
it's like patterns are pointers, not pathways.
Yes.
Because if they're pathways, then we keep doing them. So patterns become pathways if we keep abandoning. If we're inauthentic, then the pathways that we've always been on of the pattern, then they just keep that
They
loop.
keep looping.
And there's negotiable no's, and then there's non-negotiable. Like, so when you, to your example, like of a movie, I gauge that, like, so for me, I would see that as what's my reason for the no? So, for instance, if this personal about me,
Hmm.
a non-negotiable no to a movie, to what, to having an experience or going to an event is like certain types of violence, like particularly with women, there, things like that, like war movies, like very vivid, there's something that they actually
Horror.
disturb me. It's
Yeah.
not like, oh, I just, but then there's movies that maybe I just don't like, or maybe if I was by myself, I wouldn't pull up and watch.
Hmm.
But I enjoy this person and I want to spend time with them, and I'm going to go even though it's not my favorite. But when we're connected and aligned with ourselves on a soul level, we can make that decision like that.
Hmm.
when we're not connected, we can't make that decision quick enough. So we
Mhm.
default to, I'm just going to say yes, I'm just going to go. Because when we're not connected to what our true, authentic soul's voice is,
Mhm.
we can't make decisions in the present moment. And so we have to sit back on our and just go along and say yes, because if we're not secure in it, that's when the fear comes in that, oh, I'll be abandoned, I'll be rejected, I won't be invited again. You know, the friend group will put me out because I didn't like to do that, and they all wanted to go to that movie and I didn't. It's such a ripple effect. And so the way to not even get taken down by the ripples that turn into waves of abandonment is that self-awareness, which shows us who we are authentically.
Mhm.
I had a time in my life where I didn't even know what my full yeses and nos were
Mhm.
because I had chosen to detach. That was my way, and I just sort of I detached from myself, from that center. And so I couldn't make decisions. I used to use the expression all the time, like, somebody could say you could do whatever you want all weekend. Like, no, doesn't matter the cost, doesn't matter anything.
Mhm.
Making a decision about doing something I really wanted to do, I wasn't able to reach it because I had chosen to abandon myself, and I kept putting
Mhm.
myself in positions and drawing in and teaching people and calling in people to do this because that's what I was doing to myself.
Mhm.
So I wasn't with bad people. And when you end up with people who are living authentically, it's kind of torturous, I would call it, because you're watching somebody live and have this thing and go about life and make decisions and do things. And, they're present in their lives and they're doing things and they're connected and aligned with themselves. If you're not and you're with, it can be like really
Overwhelming.
painful
Mhm.
because they're doing what you're not touching. So it's in your kind of in your face more that, like, if that's happening in your life, I would encourage someone to turn inward more, r and turn more away from looking at it like, "Oh, they have it and they do it." Like, they have it and I don't.
Yeah.
It's available for all of us. It's available for everyone, and I would say that to anyone. I'd say, You have it. You
Yeah.
have it and it's available to you."
I like the point that you're making, and it's like I remember myself being jealous of people who were actually
Yes.
authentic.
Yep.
Like I would be like, how can they be able to afford to do that? You know, like
Yeah.
aren't they
That's
worried
why I
that,
bring it up.
right? As
Yeah.
aren't they worried that somebody's not going to judge them or something?
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that would be that their inner fear, and it's like
Mhm.
those are the fears we don't notice. And
Exactly.
so again, this comes back to awareness. When you start noticing this and you ask yourself an honest question, what would it take for me to be able to go do that the other person is doing? And what would it take for me to be in their shoes? Now, of course, we can't ask those questions if we are in these lower vibrations. Literally, what it is, like I said earlier, that whenever we repress, whenever we suppress, it lowers our vibration because these are the lower
Mhm.
energies that we spoke about before. And when that happens, you don't have choice. You can't make a decision. You're paralyzed at that point. And so one of the ways to come out of that is introduce things into your daily practices and spend time with people who are more grateful. So spend time on your own, like you said, sit with yourself and just list things that you can be grateful for. A lot of times I remember I started doing gratitude list, and it's like, okay, but a lot of that felt inauthentic because I was writing them but I wasn't feeling that. And so in that sense, what happens, this is just the steps though. I mean, it's like the level one, level two, level three, level four, etc., right? You're going
Mhm.
step by step in some sense, you're learning. So it's not that
Mhm.
you're doing it wrong. It's just that you're not doing it like a pro yet.
Mhm.
It's like you're practicing it, right? Okay, so if I'm being grateful for, let's say, my car, that I have a car,
Mhm.
what would it be like if I didn't have one? I would have to walk everywhere. I would have to take public transportation. I would spend a lot of
Mhm.
time waiting on bus stations in cold and in the heat. It
Yeah.
would be uncomfortable. So all of a sudden, I started to feel gratitude for my car. And so
Hmm.
things like that, where you start being grateful for simple things like you have a toilet and a shower in the house. Like if you had to go to the bathroom and you have to go like 5 blocks down the road or something, then it would be uncomfortable again. So all
Hmm.
of a sudden you can have a gratitude. Like when you have simple things again, like electricity, not necessarily, it's like we take it so for granted and it's so not.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
if you don't have electricity, how does your life change? How does it affect your life? And so I started to think this way, and all of a sudden I start to feel that gratitude. Once I started to feel the gratitude, to come back to my point full circle, is that my energy would lift.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden I saw things that I didn't
Yeah.
see before. So this is
Yeah.
like a crucial thing to get into the space of being authentic, being self-expressive, not repressing, not suppressing,
Hmm.
is to be in higher vibrations. And I'm not saying that you need to be in higher vibrations all the time, but when
Right.
you are in lower vibrations, and I'm not saying if, but
Hmm.
when you are in lower vibrations,
Yeah.
just embracing it, being with it, sitting with
Hmm.
it, allowing it to be there is what's going to let that lower vibration to pass and then
Hmm.
move you back into a higher vibration again. Once the higher
Hmm.
vibration is over, it goes back down to lower vibration. So this is a continuous flow. And so
Yeah.
you're in that flow all the time, whether you want to or not.
Yeah, 100%. And it's so important that you're bringing this up because yeah, the gratitude lists and these practices, they can turn into a detriment. They can turn into another to-do list that we stress that oh, another thing we could do wrong. And to your point, yeah, I wanted to offer about starting out like if we're already feeling sick or literally in the diagnosis of something, you're in it and living with it, oh, I'm so happy that I'm perfectly healthy and my divine perfect health. You're not feeling that yet. So your words, the universe hears what we feel, not what we
Hmm.
say also.
Hmm.
So like in health things, I say things like I'm so grateful that my body has the ability to heal itself.
Hmm.
That's now you're communicating to your body saying,
Hmm.
I believe in you. I know that you have the capacity to heal, not you're healed. And the body's like, what? No, I'm not. I'm like, can't what? Like you bypass that. And then that carries you to it because it's like if I don't know I'm strong enough and I'm at the gym and my trainer, I'm going up a weight. Well, somebody encouraged me saying, no, you're strong enough. We've been working on this. You're strong enough. Okay. I trust that. Saying to our own body, yeah, you have the ability, the capacity to heal. It reminds us that we do. It's like communicating directly. It's starting small and we don't have to be in the outcome in order to be affirming that we believe in it. The body listens. Our being, our body, everything listens to our mindset. Just the practice of that alone. It's feeding that groundedness of authenticity. Like
Hmm.
authenticity to me, it's this the sturdy foundation that we stand on when we align with it. When we do these practices, it's like that's what hardens that foundation that's steady for then the structure of what comes to be on it. On an authentic, sturdy foundation, there's no limits from there. But the first thing we are to do is to be, aware. And then on that foundation, anything that we bring, like our awareness, whatever we bring, it's supported. There's nothing that won't support. An authentic self, there's nothing that can come that the authentic self will not support.
Hmm.
Nothing.
Hmm. Yeah.
No person, place, thing, object, thought, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Right. When there's authenticity, when you're really in that connection with the soul within your physical human body, that's what it is. That the authenticity is a byproduct of being in that state of connection with the soul.
Yeah.
Really, that's just all that it is in a sense. So, like I was saying, that being able to be express whatever it is that we're living, like you were saying, also, feeling pain, right? Feeling unhealthy, whatever it is.
Mhm.
If you express it and if you allow it, sit with it, be with it, be with it, just like with a little child that is hurting, that has hurt itself, you sit with them, they process it, the body gradually heals, eventually, the emotion passes, etc. It just all goes back to symbiosis in some sense. It just goes back to a
Mhm.
normal in some sense, right? So allowing ourselves to be vulnerable again, be vulnerable with whatever it is that we're going through. Like you said, pain in the human in the body.
Mhm.
Expressing it, allowing yourself to feel. Sometimes tears may come out when you're allowing yourself to express a pain, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's a physical pain, you just hurt yourself physically, whether it's a mental pain, emotional pain, you're expressing it somehow, talking to someone, they are hearing you back and they're validating your reality. That may be super helpful. That may make you cry because now you're connected with them, right? So
Mhm.
that's the mental part of that. And emotional, of course, is the release part of it itself. So through vulnerability, which is, of course, a way for us to show courage because
Mhm.
the reason that we are not being vulnerable with ourselves in the world is from a fear of being ridiculed or something like
Mhm.
that, right?
Yeah.
Typically. And
Mhm.
so if we have the courage to be vulnerable, this is a just real step
Mhm.
into authenticity. It's like you're taking the armor off
Mm.
and you saying, here I am. I'm gonna be hurt probably, but I'm willing to risk it because I want to
Mhm.
experience life. Because what happens oftentimes, I feel like we're really just putting one armor over another, over another, over another, and then we're surprised that we can't feel anything. It's like, yeah, I mean, you have about 5 layers of armors on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised that you can't feel shit. So.
We can't receive. Yeah, love is not going to
Yeah,
push through armor.
no, and you can't receive, you can't give either because it really goes both ways. So
Mhm.
if you have armor, if you really are guarding your heart for being hurt, let's say that is experience, and this is, I'm experiencing this every now and then. I catch myself with this, is that I haven't experienced a heartbreak that was so powerful for in my life that I didn't expect, I didn't see coming kind of thing. And
Mm.
so having experienced that now I'm like almost, I don't want to say vigilant, but I'm definitely observing. It's like, okay. And so then I ask myself, is it an armor or is it just, pure boundary
Mm.
that's going to be eventually dissolved? So at this point, it feels more like a boundary rather than an armor, but it's not wrong to do any of that, but it is definitely going to hinder us if we put
Mm.
armor on and we are hoping to have some experience of life because how do we experience life? Through feelings, through emotions. If we don't have
Mhm.
feelings and emotions, we don't perceive them because we have full armor on, because there's a boundary and a border and in our mind that says don't go any past this point. It's not okay to be vulnerable. Then we're not going to experience life. If
Right.
we can't experience life, we can't be authentic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the the vulnerable witness has no armor.
Yes.
So we have an experience with a relationship and there's pain.
Hmm.
So, yes, we could choose the armor up so that that pain doesn't happen again,
Hmm.
but that means that we're going to assume that every relationship is going to be painful.
Hmm.
If we drop the armor and we're vulnerable, we can still be an observer of a relationship. We come into a new relationship. So we're
Hmm.
still an observer, but we're not looking through the lens of the past pain if we're authentically vulnerable. The armor is we're looking at the new relationship through the lens of pain because yeah, vulnerability that it opens us to release and receive. If vulnerability were like opening the valve to let things, like okay, like let things out, release, be open, then we can receive too. But if we're authentic and we're on a soul level, living on, from that soul level, then we're not afraid to be vulnerable because we trust what's being released and what we trust ourselves. We trust the natural flow of things
Yeah,
because we're
exactly.
free. We're
Exactly. If
free of those patterns and limits.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. If you're in a trusting state of being, nothing but trust comes out. Nothing but love or
Mhm.
authenticity or peace come out, really, if you're trusting. And
Yeah.
when, because things happen, like let's say that I trusted and I burnt myself. Well, the question is like what happened in the sense that let's say I trusted this new relationship that's gonna work out because I was watching for okay, so this didn't happen, this did happen. So I
Mhm.
understood like what I'm going into, and yet the relationship ended, let's say after a year or two or whatever. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, it doesn't mean that you failed. It just
Right.
means that you learned something else.
Mhm. Yeah.
So if we are set to, and specifically since you're talking about relationships, if we are set to have a success in relationship in the sense that it should last forever,
Mhm.
then we may be disappointed that it won't,
Mhm.
because nothing really lasts forever, as in physicality. Well, let me
Mhm.
rephrase this, because other than that, it's
Yeah.
always forever.
Right. Mhm. Yeah.
So in the
Mhm.
physicality, this avatar, this body is born and it will die. And then
Mhm.
in between, it's growing. As it grows, things are changing, relationships are changing, you are changing, people around you are changing, you have different friends, everything is changing, right?
Mhm.
So it cannot be the same, and it shouldn't, because that would be a boring experience,
Yeah.
I think.
Exactly. And well, we'd never learn.
Hmm.
And talking about relationships, that's always a good topic format because everybody's in them in one way or
Yeah.
another. But the same scenarios can be different. If we don't make the decision to be authentic, open, and vulnerable, not looking through the lens of the pain of the past, then the first sign of something that looks a little bit like, a person could say a word that made you think and it flashed back, you're going to discount them and you're going to make, no, no, that's it, and run away.
Yeah.
Right? But you might even have one, two, three, maybe more of the same topic, arguments, disagreements, upsets.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean you're in the same relationship. But we can't discern that. The only place we can discern that from is our soul, our own intuition. And the only way we can access our own intuition is to free ourselves from all of the old beliefs and the limits and the patterns through our own this self work and being authentic. Like the pathway to living authentically, that's the only way we'll be able to discern because we can't discern from pain from that lens. You can't.
Hmm.
It's not, it doesn't, you can't, we don't
Yeah,
have the,
again, it's like you're in that lower energy, and it's just
yeah,
from that you don't have a choice.
nope,
You are very limited with any choices, really.
yeah, it's not an
And
option.
when your vibration changes, goes into a higher level, then there is again more connection, more feeling of freedom, more feeling of peace, and it's more attainable. It feels easier, etc.
Mhm,
Doesn't feel like a struggle, and that's where the authentic expression is. So exactly how,
mhm.
like you're saying, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, like, that's the key, it's that baseline, like, there's no place to get to and then go ahead and, "Alright, now I'm safe to be authentic because
Yeah,
I've reached, grown, lived, learned, whatever. I'm this, so I can." No, you can because you are this,
yeah,
period.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah, life is a teacher and everything, it's all a teacher, and the pain stuff, if we can just find it to be with it from this state and not choose victimhood, if we can just anything that comes that's painful, say, "What are you here to show me? I'm willing to see what you're here to show me." Because and I believe that I'll be supported in whatever
Hmm.
I need to handle, rather than, "All right, well, wait, I don't know. Okay, I see it. Okay, now let me go back out into life and let me go figure out how to be a master at this, and then I'll come back and work on it." That's
Hmm.
the mind.
Hmm. Yeah.
No, sit, trust your soul, sit with it on a soul level. You know, I would say to anyone, you
Hmm.
know what to do and you know how to move through this.
Hmm.
Everyone does. There's no
Yeah.
you out there that I could point out that doesn't. Like anybody. We all do. We forgot and we're here to remember.
That's
That's
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah, it's all there all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's again like if I'm able to be on that little bit of higher frequency, I will remember because it will
Yeah.
come to me. If the
Hmm. Yeah.
frequencies are lower, bring them up higher. If you
Yeah.
have a low frequency, you feel low, be present because authenticity is in presence.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
being fully with what is, and I will
Hmm.
capitalize the is, being fully with what is right now, with the thoughts that come, with the emotions you're feeling, with the sensations you're having, with the
Hmm.
within the relationships you're in, or with the life itself, with yourself. No denial of any sort or pretense stuff. Just be with what is right now. If I have a difficult emotion that I'm perceiving. Maybe I wake up in the morning, I find myself feeling lethargic, or maybe feeling some malaise, or I just don't feel like myself. Okay, so let's say,
Hmm.
or perhaps that you've normalized it by now, and that's always how we feel. So be it, whatever.
Yeah.
Can you be with it to the point that you don't let it consume you,
Hmm.
but you allow it to be there? It's like, okay, say to yourself, maybe, okay, I am feeling heavy. I wonder where it's coming from. So
Hmm.
implying curiosity, like you say, the wonder,
Hmm.
have an inquiry, right?
Yeah.
So just ask
Yep.
yourself about, it's like, where is this coming from? I'm curious, As soon
Hmm.
as it happens, as soon as you ask, like, where is this coming from, right?
Hmm.
All sorts of answers are going to start coming, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. All of a
Hmm.
sudden, the feeling and emotion that you were perceiving or thoughts that were coming to you before are now gone. So just being with being present with that, whatever you're feeling,
Yep.
that's your mind again wondering about future, something happening that you don't necessarily want to happen. Just saying to yourself again, okay, I'm hearing. This is what I'm
Hmm.
saying to myself. Is that what I want?
Yeah.
Just
Hmm.
bring yourself back to reality every time, and this is where you have a highest chance to actually stay in authenticity in your life.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 And the sooner you meet it, the sooner you'll free it.
Yeah,
You
100%.
know? And it's like it's the remembering. I mean, whenever I'm asked to say briefly, what I do, right? It's helping people remember who they are, which is
Hmm.
love. Any work that I do with people is doing that because that's all that needs to happen. Because when we do that, we realize that we do have the capacity to do it,
Hmm.
but we can't form that trust unless we remember it.
Hmm.
And that's all it is. And so the remembering is just the unraveling and revealing. And the revealing happens through all of these experiences. But the authenticity, it's all there. It's all under the layers. It's just layers. And there's folds and there's creases in there. But when you start allowing them to unfold, then they dissolve. But they dissolve into the foundation that you stand on that's steady. So the foundation only becomes more secure as we dissolve things.
Hmm.
And it only goes up, it only gets better. And the lessons get easier because you don't need them anymore. The ones that you don't need anymore aren't going to come anymore.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, one last thing I will say, just to summarize a little bit of what we're thinking at this point, is that authenticity is
Yeah.
practice of being courageous and being present
Mhm.
with what you feeling in the present moment be true, and living in the truth, and then feeling with the truth that's felt within you, the
Mhm.
truth that you feel in life that you live in moment by moment,
Mhm. Yeah.
and not bypassing, just being present within.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Couldn't say it better. Yeah, the
Mhm.
courage to be you. Like
Yeah.
That's it. And the
Yeah,
courage to be vulnerable, and you don't have to fear anything, because when you have the courage to be you, then there's no fear of being vulnerable. So being vulnerable becomes natural
exactly.
because you're you.
Yep. Natural beingness is where we are authentic in
Yes.
our vulnerability. Beautiful. All right. Well,
Yes.
thank you again so much for hanging out with me today,
Mhm.
and
Thank you.
another fantastic chat. And
Mhm.
for those of you out there, again, thank you for following and listening, and leave us a comment. Appreciate your time, and look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, take good care of you.
Mhm.
As usually, stay awake, stay aware.
Thank you.